Hello and welcome back to another episode of Easy Survival Redstone Builds. I think this is the third episode, and it is, as teased, Secret Hidden Rooms. I think it's a um, very classic Redstone-y thing to do. Yeah, and as you can see, it's really protected. It's really hidden. Utilizes the half slab mechanic where you can scoot underneath it. Yeah, and it's really protected because you can use any item can be the key, and you can even name it. So the items. But yeah, so I built three of them. I built three different styles, and I just showed you the one that had the item filter to use to open the secret door, and that's going to be the most expensive one. That's going to be the on the higher end. The cheapest one is this right here, where it uses just uses sand, so that way this piston right here doesn't have to be sticky. You only need one sticky piston, so that's pretty cheap. I mean, it's really one sticky piston and then three regular pistons, and that's it. This one is just a little more, same concept, but just a little more expensive. It uses a block instead of sand, so it has to have two sticky pistons, but it's all the same idea. It will drop you down and you'll have a hidden room. If you are a little confused of how that's going to look, this is an example of the sand door, where you just pop in and then you got a secret hidden room, and you can pop out like that. Other one's the same exact way, but a little quicker. And of course, the button, and you slide underneath, and you got all your stuff. Of course, this top button with these, you have to have an input up here. So, I mean, you could just pick the button up, maybe have a chest of buttons over here, and you just know that, oh, okay, when I need to get in there, I can place it. But yeah, but those are it, and that's kind of how they work and sort of their usefulness. I will then jump into how to build each one of these, and I will post timestamps either on screen or in the description, so you can skip to the one that, if you already know the one you want to build, you can just skip to it. Okay, so we're gonna do this. I'll do this first one block by block. First thing you gotta do is make a double piston extender, or not really a double piston extender on this one, but a single piston extender with this block being powered, if that makes any sense. And so basically you're going to end up with this here, and I'm using concrete powder, but you can use sand, anything that is gravity sensitive. And then all you got to do is run power into these blocks, like that. I believe over here I extend, yeah, okay. So that way all the power to these are coming from this block right here. So if I unpower that, it's going to unpower these. And the trick is that this one has got to unpower first. Right? This one's got to unpower, so that way the sticky piston can pull it down. So I think just one tick of delay will probably fix that. We'll find out. Okay. So then the next thing you got to do is turn that off in order to get it to drop. And how we're going to do that is we're going to use a really old school T flip-flop sort of method. So basically, what a T flip-flop is, it's like, I think it looks like a T. I don't know exactly why they call it a T flip-flop, but I do know whenever a pulse goes through, it switches over, and then that way you can take an output from this block, and then when a pulse goes through, it switches over, so you get no output. So it basically turns buttons and things into like levers, which actually has a lot of uses, and it's actually really good for this sort of thing, because you don't have to worry about the position of where a lever's at. You just press the button. So yeah. Okay, so what you're going to do is then you're going to come out 2 from this floor block, and that's going to be, you know, your floor level where you can put the button to send it down. You come out here, and this can be the underground level where you used to go back up. You run that into you run the wire down and then over a block, and you run it in a repeater into this block, and that's going to power this, which will power this in theory. We'll see if it works like it's supposed to. That should be everything done. Switches over. Oh no. Okay, I think this needs another tick of delay. Let's see if that works. Press the button. T flip-flop switches back on. Repowers all this. Now it should work. Okay. There we go. Yeah, see, it drops it down. I gotta set this repeater to 2 ticks. That is important. So yeah, that's going to be how this works, and then you'll probably have to put like a half slab right here on the bottom of this block so you can scoot down and have enough room to get underneath it, just because of the way that it's kind of designed. Oh, okay, so that's not good. So that's not good at all. Okay, so you got to rework this circuit here. I made a mistake. So first of all, we want to run into a block, so we can hide all the redstone. So we can move it back 1. That way you won't see any of the redstone. Secondly, you want to start this piston extender on a block. It needs to be on a block as well. So that way this won't power that. And then you keep it to 3 ticks, I believe. And so now we got to move this. Nice. Okay, yeah. This makes a lot of sense, actually. But yeah, you move it so it's on the right level. Yeah, we're going to have to same setup here, but you just do that. Yeah. So now, finally, this should work correctly. The retraction worked. See. Yes. Okay. There we go. That is how you build this sucker. Key thing that I missed is to put it on the block here, and then of course you want to hide the redstone. You run it into blocks there. But yeah, that's it. It's 3 little mini circuits for the cheapest build here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and move to the second cheapest option. It's a true double piston extender with sticky pistons here. This circuit right here is a very classic example of like a sticky piston. It's like a piston extender. And then you put the block on top. Sometimes when you're making these, if you drum the block on top, it kind of messes up the whole physics of it. But basically, if you run 3 pulses into this block, it's gonna be a triple piston extender. And I think if I do that 1, 2, 3, see it gets 1, 2, and then if I press it again, 3 brings it down, but then it shoots it back up on the repulse. So it needs 3 different like block updates basically. So the way to do that is to give it 3 block updates. So we're going to let the button press be 2, and then we'll use the same T flip-flop that we used on the other one to make to give it the 3rd final one, and it will hold it on the power that it needs. So the button press is going to go through, and then when the button press ends, this will shift over and give it the third final one to pull it down. And so then all you gotta do is make, put the button where it's supposed to go, which I believe is up in this corner here. Yeah. I believe I put this one on the wall, is the way I was kind of do it. Obviously you can run these buttons however you want. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. But this is how I was doing it. We'll set this up like that. That way, whenever it, and then we just run it into this right here. Can it really be that simple? You just run that sucker right in there. So it's got the button press is going to come in, and then it's going to shift over, just like that. And then you press that, and it sends it up. Oh, I messed up. See, now it's powering itself. Smart. How did I get around this? Oh, yeah, they have to be independent. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so when you're wiring this thing, when you're wiring this thing, you got to be careful. We want to make sure that we get two separate lines from the one button press. We want to create two lines of power from one redstone dust. And so the first line is going to be where it drops this power. This block gets powered. It's going to power this dust if it hard powers this block. And right there. And the second one will come out from, I guess, from on top of this block and work its way down on top of that. So that way we have two separate lines, so that it doesn't power itself. And of course that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Oh, okay. I need to put that dust there. That dust is pretty important. Okay. So then it shifts. We drop down. We can go to our secret room. Want to go back up. Flips the flip-flop, pushes this back up. I mean, it's that simple. I totally botched it, but it is that simple. There it is. Yeah. That's the circuit. That's the double piston extender. Just an easy double piston extender. It's not something that you can, duplicate out or whatever. But it is very functional for creating this type of door. And I mean, none of these are too big to where you couldn't put an obby box around it as well. So yeah, that is the second cheapest option. Okay, so for the most expensive, but maybe the more interesting of the three, or at least the more secure, the more secretive it is, because the input is very easily accessible, and you don't it's very hidden as well. The first thing you're going to do is build this piston extender, this double piston extender, using the same sort of methodology, but we're using observers to get those ticks, to get those pulses that we need. And there is some timings involved, but we'll get to that. So that one's got to be set to 3 ticks, but we'll get to that. The way that this is going to work is that it's going to receive a pulse from a what the heck, comparator. It's going to take a comparator output from a hopper clock, like this. So if we get an item like a sword, right, just any non-stackable item, and we put it into this thing, see it pops back and forth, and this is just in a loop of double piston extension. I mean, you see it, I mean, it's just stuck in that loop. So what we really need to do is find a way, if we power this hopper, right, it's going to freeze it. We have to find a way to turn it on just in time to get the double piston extender to extend once per press or whatever, right? So to do that, we're going to have to build the and here, let me get a slab. I prefer to use slabs for the item that the double piston extender is pulling down. I think that works well, just because if you can put a block right underneath it, so you can have obsidian underneath it, and then you just decorate the floor with that and pull it out, so it can be really, really secure. But yeah, and so we want to put the hopper right over here, right there, so we can stand right here and throw it over, right? So we're just making an item filter, and we want the item to filter into this chest right here. We'll have it. Wait a second. yeah. So we'll have it set up like that, where you can retrieve whatever's thrown in. But yeah, other than that, it's just going to be your typical. We've gone over how to make these before. It's the very basic item filter. Power there. We'll use paper. I like paper just because it feels like a sort of like a key card or something. And you can name whatever item that you want. We will have to put that right there, a block right there, to keep it from going over. That repeater is doing that job there. We power that, and as you see, it runs down to 18, and then that's where we'd pick up all of the paper or whatever item we use to filter, and yeah, you can throw it in over that. As well as just so we can hide the redstone, put a thing over that, so that way, yeah, okay. So then we have the item filter. So now we have to hook the item filter up from this right there to our hopper clock here. So the question is, how do you do that? And it gets complicated, honestly. It really does get complicated. Okay, so the way you're going to want to power this hopper is actually right underneath it. Yeah, I just messed it up. You're going to want to power the hopper from right underneath it, so that way you can take from this output, you can run it into this block, and then run that power into this torch. This torch will be able to power this dust. This dust will soft power this block. This repeater will take the soft power and put it in hot power this block, turn this torch off. So yeah. So now whenever we put in the paper, or whatever item we chose, it will send a pulse, dropping it down. Because it turns this torch off just enough to allow this sword to flick over. It gives it just enough time, as you can see there. Yeah, so that's it. I mean, that's how we do the initial pull down, as we saw over there. So the question is then, okay, how do we get back up? And we need a button press for that. We're going to use the same sort of system that I have over here. So just 2 blocks above this torch, I believe is what it looks like. 2 blocks above that torch, we're going to put a button. And we have to end up running that into this block as well. And so what I think the best method to do, well, I'm not sure what the best method to do is, to be honest with you. If I can get power into this block here, I think that's what I did. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So we have to create this monostable circuit. Okay. This is a rising edge monostable circuit. So when this is pressed, power still goes through. As you'll see right there, on the rise, it goes through. So we have that set in place. That there. Bring it down. That runs the power into this block. And then we'll bring it down, run it into here. This won't matter because this pulse will go through. So basically, whenever the way comparators work, if whatever single strength's going in the side, it will subtract that from the single strength it gives out. But this pulse will go through before this item gets flicked over, so that means nothing. But bottom line is this monostable circuit will power this block for like a quick second. And the reason you have to do this is because if you just sent the full signal, the pulse is so long that it's going to let this item flow back too many times, and so it's going to mess the whole circuit up. So you have to do this in order to suppress or sort of shorten the signal length. Gives it a quick pulse. It will go down and power this block, which will power this repeater, which will power this block, which will power this dust, which will power this block and turn that torch off. So if we see here, we're down, bottom. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that just awesome? Yeah. Okay. So you have to set this repeater on 2 ticks. You have to press it. But yeah. So now this button pulls it down and pushes it up the same way this does. So we use that to get down. Come on, do all of our secret room stuff. You can press this button, you get back up like it never even happened. But yeah, that is it. It's going to be an item filter that runs into a hopper clock that runs into a double piston extender. And then this is a monostable circuit that runs into the hopper clock that runs into this piston extender. So those are your 3 or so circuits that build this thing. And I'll just revisit the original here. I made it slightly differently, but as you can see, that it's seamless. There's no way to tell you throw your item in. No one's going to know it's here unless they use mods and cheat stuff. But even if they do use mods, these circuits are small enough where you can encase it in obsidian. You can have obsidian boxes around them. And you can even put this in an obsidian floor. I mean, you would put your obsidian block right there, right? And then you just make this like your floor decoration. And so you can have a box underneath it and a box going up, and then just have the secret room in the bottom or something. Yeah, and that's it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching another episode. I think this one went a little bit better. Had a little more time to kind of wrap my head around it. So that is the secret room things. I really hope it helps. For the next episode, which I believe is episode 4, I'll have to recheck. We're going to work on the super smelter design right here. How can we get auto smelting pretty much right out the gate, as long as we have access to bamboo and a few things. Like we will need an observer, but yeah, right out of the gate, a nice easy way to get cheap fuel automatically using auto farms. So that will be the next episode. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you.